Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Zone by D'Antonio podcast. Today, I wasn't planning to do anything today, but I decided to do this because I was just shocked at what happened in Tampa today. South Carolina defeated Michigan 26-19. Michigan is clearly the better team. They get better athletes. I think they have a better head coach. I think. Their quarterback was hyped up to be something that he's not. South Carolina could not score a point against Clemson a couple of weeks ago in the rivalry week. Not a point. Jake Bentley was awful in that game. And Jake Bentley was pretty good. He was pretty damn good this game. He really was. But what a classic Michigan loss. I mean, how more classic could you get? Up 19-3 in the third quarter. And what does your team do? Commit 5 turnovers. 5 turnovers. And it started with the coaching staff. When you're up 19-3, you should run the ball 70 to 80% of the time. Especially when your defense is playing as well as it was. And Michigan's defense was playing well for 2.5 quarters. But in the end, my goodness, I still can't believe this happened. But in the end, turnovers. Brandon Peters, all I hear from the Michigan fans is Brandon Peters is a deity and Brandon Peters is so much better than Brian Lewerke. Well, Brandon Peters is a sophomore. So is Brian Lewerke. Brian Lewerke looked calm. Brian Lewerke looked ready to play. And Brian Lewerke was great in that game. Brandon Peters looked overwhelmed. Brandon Peters looked like he didn't belong there. He looked like another John O'Corn. He really did, my goodness. I mean, seriously, this season was just laughable for the Wolverines. Came in here ranked number 11 with tons of freshmen on the team, and I don't want to hear the freshman excuse. Michigan State is the youngest team in the Big Ten besides Illinois. And Michigan is third, but Michigan State is younger than the University of Michigan. And what did they do? Not only did they win 10 games, they upset Penn State, they upset Michigan, and guess what? They upset Washington State. Even though it wasn't much of an upset. But, I mean, for people to come out here and say that this loss is a good thing for the program, that's just unbelievable to me. People saying it's a springboard to next year, this loss, motivation. I don't think Harbaugh can motivate at all. He can't. Seriously. You look at last year. You would have thought that a loss to Iowa would have gotten you up and ready for Ohio State. And did it help? Early, maybe. They had a 17-7 lead, but they choked that game away. All right? And this Michigan is the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Both the Cowboys and Michigan football have the most annoying fans you've ever seen. They're arrogant fans, and all they do is look to next year and say, oh, we're going to be great next year. That's all they do. Okay? Instead of looking at the present, they look to the future because they know the present is not very good. Let's go back the last couple of years. 2015, Jim Harbaugh's first year. They lost to Utah. Utah's a good team. They lost to them the first game of the year. At home against Michigan State. Michigan State was outplaying them the entire game. And just because of that, just because Blake O'Neal was booming punts down the field and getting Michigan State in bad field position, Michigan was going to win that game. And classic Michigan, the guy who helped them win the game, the punter, the guy who's been booming punts the whole game, drops the ball. It's picked up and taken back for a touchdown. I mean, how classic can that get? That is classic Michigan. Then last year, Iowa. Okay? Iowa, your big favorites going into that game. Iowa's a mediocre team. All right? John O'Corn, I understand John O'Corn's not your normal starter. But there's no excuse to losing to Iowa. And then losing to Ohio State the way you did, up 17-7. They are the Dallas Cowboys. It's ridiculous. It really is. And then this year, the losses you had were just ridiculous. The losses. Wisconsin, loss. Michigan State, loss. Ohio State, loss. Then, of course, seriously, this bowl game, how insane is this bowl game? Seriously. You're favored in this game. You're favored. You're the better team, better athletes, probably the better coach, and you just lay an egg on the field and ruin the Big Ten's bowl season right there. The Big Ten was going to have something to brag about, and then Michigan choked, like they always do. Last year in the Orange Bowl, choke. Choke, choke, choke. It's the name. They should change their name to Choke University, because that's all they do is choke. It's ridiculous. It really is. Okay? Michigan State needs some competition in the state. They have no competition. They win every time. They have no competition. It's just so funny. Your best win of the season was against Purdue. 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 Are you kidding me? Purdue. You want to say Florida? No. Florida went 3-7 this year. It's not Florida. It's Purdue. Purdue. My goodness. And then people trying to say you're a top 10 team going into next year. You're losing players. You're losing players on the defensive end. Okay? Even if Shea Patterson comes into this year and plays. Okay? I just don't see him being the answer to the offense. The play calling was so bad. 3rd and 8 and you're doing play action? My goodness. It's like, are these people trying to lose? Is Harbaugh trying to lose? Is he trying to get fired so he can go to the NFL or something? Oh man, it's just funny. It really is. It's funny how laughable this program has become. It's become a dumpster fire. Okay, and it has been the laughing stock of the Big Ten for a long time, and it's not Rutgers, because everybody knows Rutgers is going to lose. Michigan, because we know the season is going to end some way badly. We know they're going to lose a big game, because they lose every big game. We know they're going to lose to Michigan State. We know they're going to lose to Ohio State. And now we know they're going to lose to Penn State. And they're going to lose to Notre Dame next year. If Harbaugh stays on the coaching staff next year, expect another 8-4 season. Expect it. Because if they tried out that offense that they did today, they're not winning more than 8 games. They're not. Okay? Brandon Peters was disgusting in this game. He was awful in this game. Okay? He was embarrassing. Jim Harbaugh goes in there. He's had 4 years to find a quarterback, and he hasn't found one yet. 4 years. Is Dylan McCaffrey the next one? Is Shea Patterson the next one? I don't know. All I know is D'Antonio gets quarterbacks, and he wins with quarterbacks that actually look like real Division I quarterbacks. Last year being the exception with Tyler O'Connor, he was just awful. Tyler O'Connor was a disgrace to Michigan State quarterbacking. And Damian Terry's a running back playing quarterback. But Brian Lewerke is the real deal. Brian Lewerke is a 3-star recruit out of Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona. He goes out there and finds these guys that Harbaugh just can't find. Can we say right now that Brandon Peters, what is he, a 4 or 5-star recruit, is not better than 3-star recruit Brian Lewerke? Can we say that right now? I think we can say that. Okay? Oh my goodness, this is so funny. It really is. It's laughable. It really is. Leave it up to Michigan to ruin the Big Ten's bowl season. Oh man. The University of Michigan should be ashamed of themselves. Purdue won their bowl game. Purdue won their bowl game. Iowa won their bowl game. I mean, seriously, Wisconsin played a road game for their bowl game and won. Penn State looked dominant in their bowl game. Ohio State looked dominant in their bowl game. Michigan State looked dominant in their bowl game. Northwestern had They had fits with Kentucky, but their quarterback went out and they still won. Michigan at full strength. They just crapped the bed. They crapped the bed, and it's hilarious to see how helpless that team looked on the football field. How, oh my goodness, it's just funny. It's funny to me how South Carolina team that's not even close recruiting wise to Michigan. How many top 25 recruiting classes does South Carolina have? I mean, Will Muschamp was a joke of a coach. He's a joke. And Michigan was up 19-3. They were dominating that football game. And what happened to their defense? It's not like Mo Hurst sat out the bowl game. He played. Oh my goodness. Oh, Michigan fans, I don't feel bad for you one bit, because all you do is say how great your team is going to be, how great your team's going to be next year, and how great Brandon Peters is, and how great Dylan McCaffrey is, and how great Shea Patterson's going to be for your team. It's going to be great when Michigan goes into East Lansing next year with a 5-1 record, and Brian Lewerke outduels either Shea Patterson or Brandon Peters. Brandon Peters. The only teams Michigan beat this year were the teams where they just physically dominated them. Minnesota had a bunch of freshmen on their team, and they just weren't athletically close to Michigan, and that's the only reason why they won those games. Maryland, too. They had fits with Air Force. They had fits with Cincinnati. Cincinnati went 3-9, and they had trouble with Cincinnati. Defense looked good this year, but there was something missing from the Michigan defense this year. It was that big play at the end of the game, or turnovers, or something was missing from the Michigan defense. All right, that the Michigan State defense had, that other defenses had. So that's going to be it for me. Be back to our regularly scheduled podcast this Wednesday. We're going to preview the Big Ten season.
Please come get something on. You'll end up getting